Good evening, everyone. My name is Vernisha Jones, and I am the president of the West Garfield Park Youth Council. We believe that we are the solution to the issues in our community. Our theme is nothing with us, without us. The West Garfield Park Youth Council is comprised of young people on the west side of Chicago whose focus and concern is the youth leadership and concern in the West within the West and within the community to reduce senseless violence and illegal substance use. We invite people from all over, especially our young people, to come in and see what we are all about. Our show will be scheduled every Thursday at 7 p.m. Again, that is every Thursday at 7 p.m. Our show can also be viewed online at www.cantv.org/live. Again, that is www.cantv.org/live. Well, everyone, I would like to introduce my guest this evening. His name is Mr. Preston Allison Jr., the CEO of PAJ. He will let you guys know what that is a little bit later, but yes, he's the CEO of PAJ. Thank you, Mr. Preston, for being a guest on my show tonight.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I
No
greatly
problem.
appreciate you. Thank you.
Again, everyone, my name is Vernisha Jones, and I am the president of the West Garfield Park Youth Council, and you are watching a live interactive call-in program brought to you by Can TV 21. During the next 25 minutes, we're going to be discussing bridging the intergenerational gap between local organizations on the west side of Chicago. We invite our viewers watching to leave your comments and questions at 312-738-1060. Again, that is 312-738-1060. So today's topic is bridging the intergenerational gap between local organizations on the west side of Chicago, which is something that we really want to pour into. Can I start with asking you a few questions?
Of course you can.
So can you tell everyone who you are and what is your purpose for existing? And when you tell everybody who you is, I want you to stick to you.
Okay.
Not about your profession. I
Right.
want you to stick to who you are as a person.
Who I am as a person? All right. Wow. Thank you.
No problem.
Well, I guess who I am as a person, I oftentimes tell young people when I'm in session, who are you? A husband, a father, a businessman, an author. I hold many multi-positions working with individuals, and this is what led me to work with other organizations because this is who I am. And so you are as a person mean I'm a compassionate person. I'm a person that wants to be with socialization and interacting with people. And so this has helped me to create and formulate a company.
Okay.
PAJ.
PAJ. Okay. And what do you feel like your purpose is for existing?
Well, at this point, when I asked several other people, to say, hey, who do you think you are to people? A lot of time, I look at, I'm a man of knowledge, wisdom, insight, meaning that I want to share my knowledge. I want to share my experience. And when I give that to an individual, I believe that it'll help them get a good results in certain areas of their lives.
Okay. And I heard you say PAJ.
Yes, ma'am.
What is that?
Okay, all right. PAJ is actually abbreviation to say everybody think it is Preston Allison Jr. But PAJ, PAJ stands for Partnership Advocating Justice, meaning PAJ Associate Building a Better You, and it's centered around social emotional learning with our youth within the city of Chicago. So we partnership, whether it's with the parents or local organizations, and help them in that area to identify areas that need to grow, insight, and mature.
And where you located? Is you located on the west side, the south side? Like, where are you located?
Okay, we're located near the Austin area, but we're located in Chicago because it's a line between those, and it's on the north side of Chicago. And so, yes.
Okay. So why is helping young people, helping people in general, why is that so important to you? Why are you so passionate about doing that?
Well, I'm very passionate about that because I'm a father of 5, and I
Okay.
raised 3 daughters and 2 sons on the west side of Chicago. But in addition to that, raising children, the thing of our youth right now, one of the greatest things I believe that you can do is give them profitable knowledge, meaning giving them knowledge in areas whether it's in finance, finance, in areas of mental health, and the areas where they can help them find their way. And so the biggest investment that we can do with our youth is pour into them that generation, and as well as team up with them, that we can all become in oneness and be able to, work in the city, work around and help, people.
Okay. What do you, okay, I see you said you raised 5 kids. How was that raising 5 kids on the west side of Chicago? Honestly.
Can we be honest?
Yeah, honestly.
Challenging.
Yeah. And what aspect? Why?
Good question. Well,
did you raise the perfect kids, or was it,
it was
hassles?
Okay. So we used a structure, and we didn't even know we was using it. First of all, I met my wife at 15. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've been together for 35 years and 30 years of marriage. And so we had challenging ourselves, because transitioning to get married as teenagers and going into 20, we was adolescent, let's learn some lessons. Yeah. And we moved right into adulthood, which was responsibility, and we already had 2 girls. And so I had 3 daughters. And so, even though my wife, is a female, she's young, they looking to me for guidance. And so I am glad that I had local organizations that help us through that process. I cannot say we did it alone. We did it with many individuals from different churches and organizations, and we had structure. Our children went to school, and then after that they had different programs they went afterwards. So that helped my children navigate time throughout, their growing up in the inner city. It is very important with young people that you have some form of structure that can bring guidance, because structure do also bring safety.
And so how do you help these parents now? Because I know, that's how I was raised. I was raised to where I went to school during the day. After school, I was always a part of something. It was never no free time to do nothing for them. Well, but I would say the program that I was a part of, I enjoyed them. So it was never nothing where it was like, oh my God, I don't want to go here. So it was always, I enjoy it, because I'm only 26. Okay. So it's like when I did programs, I enjoyed doing it. But what do you say for parents that it's not as easy as you that don't have that type of structure in their households, and they trying to, get their child on the right path, but it's like, it's not the same.
It's not the same, and you're right. I would share with many of our parents that we work with and talk to, you have to first, in any form of relationship, I call it the ships. You have to let your children know that this is a partnership. And in that partnership, you have a part to play. And what do that looks like? Meaning that you do your chores while they do the job. Introduce them to the responsibility immediately. Meaning that tell them this is our reality. And partnership, and listen to them as they speak from their place. Because when pressure is hitting the family, everybody feel the pressure. And a lot of times parents would say that the youth do not have pressure, but yes, they do, because they have their classes, their school, and then, the home, school, and community thing, right? Whether they have a job, their chores are their job. And then in addition, they're transitioning from childhood, adolescent, and, going into adulthood. Yes. And so as partnership in the relationship, it is very important, if you are the parent, to listen to them, help alleviate stress in the family. Look for different ways as you all navigate. And then, they always say what you mean and mean what you say. Sometimes you got to alternate that, because things change, situations change. And so you have to be a little bit flexible with each other as you're navigating through your now.
Okay. And so do you have any opportunities for young people, for parents in need of help? Do you have any opportunities for people like that?
Yes, we do. We have teamed up with several organizations. And we working now on the west side right over here with Lifeline to Hope. We're working with Woodlawn Restorative Justice. They are that's in the Woodlawn area, and they actually pay participants for being a part of their program. Yes,
and that's the best. That's the best.
You get compensated. You get compensated.
Yeah.
And yes, you get compensated. Stiffer. And so we're really just building partnerships right now. Because it's very important. We all have a part to play. And so I remember when I was working with the hospitals, they said we serve the whole person. But we must understand, if we serve the whole person, we have to look at the levels of that person, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, even verbally. They have to have a language to be able to speak what they want to say. So we're going to serve people. We're going to serve them from the area of meeting them where they're at and respecting where they're at and helping them to navigate as we serve them.
And I know that's one general thing that everybody says. Everybody that I have come on the show and we talk about young people, it's always that line of meeting them where they at.
Yes.
And I feel like that's a big thing when it comes to young people. Not going to a young person and just feeling like, okay, you need to change right off back.
Yeah.
Not knowing exactly what's going on in their head or what they got going on in life. I love that line, meet them where they at.
Yes.
And speaking of programs that we got with young people, we also have programs with young people that we got one called MySpace Drop In, and then we got another one called Impact Identities, where we have young people from the West Side where they could come in Monday through Friday to our organization between the hours of 3 to 6, and we do all type of stuff with them. If you need help with your homework, we do peace circles, we do college tours, we take them on trips. We just recently took our kids to the Shed Aquarium. We went to a White Sox game. We went to the Museum of Science and Industry. So we try to do stuff because you would be surprised of how many young people say, I never been from out my area. And it'd be so crazy because like growing up, we went on trips and stuff, and it'd be crazy because kids be like, I never been nowhere. I never been on a plane. I never been downtown. And so we try to explore their horizon by finding different stuff for young people to do. And so we got that stuff going on at our organization. If it's any young people out there that need help with anything, and if you guys need contact to Mr. Preston, he's going to give y'all his information towards the end. But if you guys want to contact us, 773-287-5821, and you can contact us regarding any programs we have going on, or if you want any contact information for Mr. Preston. Going on to the conversation. Do you feel that mental health is important, and why?
Wow. Do I feel that mental health is important, and why?
I know your answer already.
Oh, yes. Yes, and yes. Let me share with you, even dear to my heart. If we really look now, we are the generation after COVID-19. And I say that because it was a global pandemic. We must ask ourselves, whether we are youth or whether we are elders, geriatric, we must ask ourselves a question. How was we affected? And I want to share some points with you that during that time, the divorce rate went up. They said, well, what they have to do? Well, parents, that was two parents separated.
Sitting in the house with each other 24/7.
Sitting in the house. We saw images consistently that hits the mind. And so these images affected our children for when they watched the news. We also had to realize that our children was affected in areas of, we used to have that slogan, No Child Left Behind. Yeah. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, it put a lot of children behind.
Yeah.
And so all of that played a significant part in affecting a person mentally. See, sometimes we just forget a thing because we went past that thing, but that thing is still affecting us emotionally. And we wonder why we're still angry or why we still frustrated. Is it because during the pandemic you was put back a grade and then you walked that hall of shame looking as an embarrassment and nobody ever took a time to ask you or let you voice your opinion or your feelings about what you experience? See, we must understand that we say mental health, we're saying that somewhere a trauma, an emotional shock that created a wound inside of me that comes out through my personality and behavior. So if I'm getting in trouble, it was because of what I experienced. And if I have no one to support me, then I can see why there's behavior problems.
Every time it's so crazy because this is our first time like actually having a real conversation, and everything he's just been saying to me is just like he's a person that you just really got to look at him and just listen to everything he's talking about because it's so inspiring for real. So do you feel like schools should offer mental health awareness?
Yes, ma'am. And the reason why, if we look at the structure that we have no matter where, whether it's here in Chicago or even around the world, the structure is that we teach and send each other, our children, for higher level of education. But that is not the only reason you go to school. You learn diversity, you learn socialization. And if the child is going to school, you must realize we have a triangle: home, school, and the community. So if I'm affected at home, surely I'm affected in class. I'm at school. And so even as educators, we understand that first we have to deal with first things first. I have to deal with what you're dealing with emotionally and mentally before I can pour in the knowledge.
It just be okay. How can we support our young people? How can we better support our young people when it comes to mental healthness? What if we got some young kids that don't want to come to no program? What if, like, how do you go about supporting young people? Like, say for instance, you go on a corner and you see some young people that need help, but they not ready for that help, or that program is lame. I don't want to go there. Like, how do you? Because I feel like that be the kids that need it. Like, we have the kids that's willing to come to our programs and the kids that want to be there, but I feel like the kids that we need to be reaching out to are the ones that's, sitting outside on the corner that feel like it's lame to go be in a program because of what their peers are telling them. What do we do about that?
Well, I think, as I've had an opportunity to engage with so many youth in 25 years of working with them from various organizations, the first thing is first, remind you this is a person. And if this person has a free will, you need to honor it. However, if I know that you have a free will and you don't desire now, but has a need for, what I'll do is be a supporting cast. So I will sit myself back, watch and observe you because you are a youth, and I will then stay consistent. Through that consistency and compassion, I found it is a drawing tool because other youth bring youth. When they experience some, oh man, they used to say loose lips sink ships.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you, when somebody get to telling, they become your market and they market your program. And so they'll say, look, we had so much fun. And after a while, it'll bring that curiosity alive. And they'll be able to, before you know it, they come in and all you do is stay consistent and don't, just respect them. And then also listen to them. Because again, when someone is introducing something on that introduction level, you don't know them. But that introduction level, I call it the I zone, which is the introduction of something. I never address it on the introduction. Then I must have an interaction with you. And in the word interaction is really a sentence. I'm on an act, A-C-T, actively consider the teaching. As it enter you as a person. And so we're always sharing knowledge. We're always sharing insight and wisdom. And so the child is still, or the youth is still asking and looking for direction. But because people have been inconsistent or various things that happen, they don't trust them. Lastly, I tell each individual, because I hear people all the time, even in counseling sessions, I don't trust him. I don't trust her. I've been asking individuals to consider what they're saying. Because usually when you say that, if you don't trust a person, you would never go to sleep around that person. You're really saying, I don't trust you in an area. We must identify the area that needs the treatment. And once we discover that, we can then help bring the person back to stabilization.
And you sure you're not a therapist?
You say sure. I do a lot of sessions.
Okay. I know you deal with mental health. You do a lot with mental health. How do you know when a person has mental health issue? How do you become? Because a lot of people, we oblivious to it. You tell a person, everybody think they bipolar. Everybody like, I get mad, I'm bipolar. I get angry, I got anger issues. So how do you know when when a person, do you know? Like when you meet somebody, do you know do you have that type of spark where you know something going on with a person when you meet a person? Like, how do we know?
Well, let me share it like this. Number one, working in a hospital, that's the pet peeve of any psychologist. We don't want to diagnose anybody.
Okay.
Let's not do that. Number one, because again, when working with the children from 5 to 12, you never want to diagnose a person that might grow out of a certain symptom. Can we be honest first there? Yeah. So let's not go and bring stigma. That's why we're doing trauma-informed care. Because we want people to be informed that, again, that this individual may not be what you're saying and you're speaking that on them. And then you already know when someone speaks something on you, you become guarded, defensive, draw back, and you can't help a person in that area because your words have wounded them. And so that's number one. Now, how can you tell that someone per se is at a place where they're dealing with overwhelmness, stimulation, depression? Well, I want you just to look at their body language. People say, I didn't say nothing, but your body says a lot.
That's definitely true.
Yeah, your body says a lot. You know how you said boo, and somebody said, I ain't scared.
But you jumped.
You were scared, for real. And so you jumped. And so you want to look at the individual and see if their body language with the hands clutch, the way their eyes are racing. Racing thoughts oftentimes goes inside, a person is hyperventilating, they're breathing hard. And so when you see certain things that a person may do that seems to be off the scale of what is normal in an interaction, let's try not to cause them as a person to make stigma on them, but try to alleviate the overwhelming sensation that they're going through. So really look at the body language, because we talk a lot through our nonverbal.
Yeah.
I would say that on the beginning stages.
Yeah, I'm one of them type of people. If you're just not tuning in, tonight on our show is Mr. Preston Allison, and we are discussing bridging the intergenerational gap between local organizations. And do you have anything coming up? Because we didn't talk about that. Do you have anything coming up as far as activities, programs, or anything coming up that?
Well, right now we're partnershiping with a lot of organizations right now in that area. We have a lot of ones that we're working with on a personal level, helping them bridge the gap between them and their parent. Okay. Can I break down parent? Mm-hmm. Parent. PARENT, prepare action, recognize emotion next time. And so we're working with the parents to help them to prepare action to work with the children the next time. I've been
enjoying this, so he's trying to keep throwing it in there. So yeah, I get it. I'm listening.
Yes. And so we're doing more working with individuals on the private section, especially during the holidays, because again, a lot of feelings come up, during the holiday season. We really want to support everybody during this season.
Okay, and us, Fathers Who Care, we have a program coming up, a Thanksgiving donation and celebration we will be having on November 18th. We're accepting donations between October 12th passed, but we're accepting donations up until November 14th at Michelle Clark, 5101 West Harrison, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're looking for canned goods, turkeys. If you want to give any type of donations, cash-wise, you can contact us as Fathers Who Care at 773-287-5821. And we will be actually having our actual event on November 18th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Michelle Clark High School, where we'll be giving full meals to families throughout the community that comes out. And we will also be having all types of organizations. So if you want to have a table or whatever, we can talk about that once we get out of here. Excellent. But yeah, so we got that coming up with our organization. And so if people want to get in contact with you, how do they get in contact with Mr. Preston Allison Jr.?
How they get in contact with us? You can get in contact with us through PAJ Talks About on Instagram. You can do that. We have a page on there. You can also reach us at 1773-418-0112. We also give a chance just to give consultation to bring the gap between parents and their children, just being able to share with you all that we build healthy families and build a better you.
Okay, and then one of these questions I really wanted to get on. So what are positive thinking techniques that help people focus on themselves and their accomplishments? That would be like his last closing, because I know that would be something that, yeah.
Okay, positive things that technique with inside yourself. Number one, you have to understand that every thought that you have, you don't have to give life to it, meaning that you have to cipher the thoughts. Always shift your thoughts to some other healthy thinker. I'm always shifting my thoughts to healthy thinkers. Number two, as I walk various things, too much data, I'm overwhelmed. So what I do is certain things I tell myself, it has nothing to do with me. And because I'm a man of compassion and I want to help so many people, it helps shift me not to engage, but knowing how to disengage. Know of a surety, we will hear the news, NEWS, never ending words spoken. But here's what you do. You NEWS, you neutralize the emotional words that are spoken to you.
I love that. I love to hear that. Can you give our audience some closing remarks? I always go first. So my mama always told me, well, actually, when I graduated from 8th grade, my mom gave me a card, and she wrote in there, "The sky's the limit." And so ever since then, it's like that's my favorite quote. Anything somebody asks me about, I always say, "The sky's the limit. The sky's the limit." And that's like literally my what's the name to everything.
I hear you.
What about you?
I will give you this final one. I heard this saying, and it stayed with me. It is not a foolish man that makes mistakes. It is a foolish man that never learns from his mistakes. Because the wise man was once a fool, but learned from what he went through. Therefore, he was able to teach others. Know that we will go through things and learn from those things. But once you grab that knowledge, give it to someone else. Because the key of knowledge can bring you out of any situation.
That's it. That's it. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Preston Allison, for being a guest on our show, and I really enjoyed it. I really took a heed to everything you done said. I really enjoyed talking to you and everything. And thank you, everybody, for watching and tuning in tonight. You guys could tune in next week, same time, same station. We'll be having a different guest, and that's it.